followers, friends, and all people who accompany my work. As seen in posts on Instagram, I spent some days out of Moscow. I flew a few days ago to London and visited several spots of this cosmopolitan city. On Sunday, in the evening, I reached Paris by bus, where I stayed till Tuesday morning. There, I also took a short walk around the center, visiting the so-known Tour Eiffel and the famous Arc of Triumph. The weather was most of the time cloudy, rainy, and cold. But anyway, I'm really satisfied with the photos I was able to make and naturally with the trip itself. Right after arriving at St. Pancras International Railway Station in the center of London, I went around guided by my friend Samantha and saw some of the famous places and buildings in that area. Afterwards, I headed to her place in the district of Stoke Newington. I personally love that area. The houses side in the streets are exactly what I see when I imagine streets in London, full of brick-built houses repeated all along the road. Nearby, I also found interesting exploration places. There were two cemeteries nearby. Both have been deactivated and are now parks, regularly visited by people who come by to practice some exercises, read a book, or simply have a walk. Of these cemeteries, the loveliest one is Ebony Park. It's the largest one, located farther than the other. The curious thing about it is that this cemetery has the widest variety of plants and trees in London. And it's even more curious if you think that this cemetery was one of the few that accepted burying people from any religious background. By the way, here is buried William Booth, the founder of Salvation Army Church. For all days I stayed in London, I would say I had Thames as my guideline. I mean, all the famous spots I visited were along the river, so I spent a good deal of time walking on the riverbank. Firstly, I spent some time not far from Big Ben, which by the way was covered to the top with metal structures due to the reparation work being done at the moment. Nearby were also the London Eye, Trafalgar Square, and Waterloo District on the other side of the river. This specific area, very close to London Eye, is pretty nice, with a beautiful carousel and some food shacks spread all over the area. It has a warm and pleasant atmosphere. On the following day, I went to visit St. Paul's Cathedral, located also by the Thames and not far from Canary Wharf, the business center of London. It was a bright morning and I probably made there some of the best pictures of my trip. Across from there, I took the bridge to the other side, and then I walked all the way to London Bridge, walking past restaurants and elegant streets on the way. It's a quite fancy area of London, by the way. You see here lots of modern buildings featuring futuristic architecture. Finally, I finished my walk at London Bridge. Beautiful and remarkable, probably the thing that carries most of London identity. Before the watch turned midnight on Sunday, I was already heading to my host in Paris. I used couchsurfing and I was able to find a nice couch and a nice company for my stay there. My time in the French capital was way shorter than in London, so I went straight to Eiffel Tower the following morning. And yeah, it was fantastic. It is indeed the most delicious kind of food for our eyes. Almost everybody in the world is brought up learning about how much this monument is loved. I was really glad to make those pictures because I spent many years of life thinking of being here one day, and well, this day has just passed into my life. I'm sure that this place in summer is probably one of the most wonderful things to see in the world. But the muddy sky covering our heads wasn't any bad sign for me. To finish my walk in Paris, I took the way to the Arc of Triumph, photographing the typical narrow streets, registering a little bit of what life feels like in that area. And then, finally, I reached the Arc. Giant, beautiful, hypnotic. On the following day, still in downtime, I left my host and went again to visit Eiffel Tower. My effort to get there earlier provided me the opportunity to take a nice long exposure photograph of the monument, probably the best photo I've taken in Paris. From there, I got inside the metro again to reach the bus terminal. I had my ride back to London. On my way to Paris, I spent most of time sleeping, for it was already dark by the time the coach started to drive on French highways. However, returning was way more attractive. I left Paris 10 in the morning and felt delighted with the sight of French countryside. A sunny sky was over us, many small villages encrusted among large green fields, and miles of eolic mills siding a good part of the road. The coach I was in was then put onto a ferry on which we crossed La Manche to get to the UK. I was so glad to finally see the sea again. I hadn't seen anything like that since I left my hometown Ubatuba last January. One of the best moments of the trip for sure. Managing my time during this trip was not easy. The only thing I could find time for was posting some of the works on Instagram. Besides, I had to find my time to relax a little bit and actually feel my adventure. It's a great experience to use art and creativity, such as in photography, to show what we see while in a journey. We make a unique portrait of a place, and this portrait makes your memory deeper and more consistent, and also more pleasant for those who come see what you've captured. Again, as in previous videos, as my thank you for watching this video, I invite you to see the photos in my website and also be tuned in with the channel on YouTube to be right away informed about new videos. Don't forget to leave your like below if you liked it.